All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank
We're
you.
in.
We'll just notify you when your time is up.
Okay. I got a timer. Okay, we're back, guys, and now we're with Attorney Maria Theresa Pagulayan. Theresa, thank you so much for making it out here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Again, it is also technically our second time meeting in the flesh. We met for the first time last night at dinner,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah. Correct.
But maybe we should. How did we meet, right?
Yeah. Literally how we meet online. So I was looking for an online job because I'm fresh out of taking the bar. I was very exhausted. I do not want to work physically. I don't want to go back being a paralegal with my lawyer boss. So I started looking for a job online, and then I saw a post by John Cortez, our technical advisor, and I was reading. It's a very long post. It's giving the what Kasama Connect is, and I was very impressed. And I commented on that post, and John contacted me. So I told him that I was a Juris Doctor graduate, and I was very impressed by the post. I want to be part of Kasama Connect. I want to be part of a startup company that regulates the virtual world. So that's it. John connected me with Al.
The rest is history. And she's honestly going to be the first lawyer that specializes in this.
Yeah, it's very
Like,
new. It's
very
very
new.
unique, especially in
Yeah.
the Philippines.
She's going to have a place on the app. So the app's going to have legal counsel, which is, a lot of VAs, is this legal? Is this contract look
Yes.
right? And she'll be part of that model, A lot of big plans for her. There's not like I said, this is going to be the first app in the world with a governance layer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to you, Josue. So we're going to rethink about what Filipino remote work can and should be dignified, diplomatic, and truly developmental. Okay. So on this episode or this segment, okay, we're gonna sit right at the intersection I care about, which is most grassroots leadership development, meeting the future of the global remote workforce. So Josue Seguya, known to many as a holistic development partner, right? A coach who has worked with over 1,000 young Filipinos through Model United Nations and leadership programs since 2024,
Yeah.
and the COO of the Center for Leaders in Baguio, right? Jose's advocacy is global peace and prosperity from grassroots to institutional initiatives, and he lives that out on the ground, mentoring youth in digital governance. Well, no wonder that topic makes sense between you and I, right?
Yeah.
AI policy making, definitely want to talk about that. Disaster risk reduction and eco-tourism, helping them turn debate room skills into real-world opportunities and showing them that their voices matter long before they step into a boardroom. He also serves as the Philippines Outreach and Program Coordinator for River Valley Regulars
Yeah.
and Empowering Youth Unconventional Paths, a platform that doesn't just talk about potential, but actually surfaces concrete opportunities for young people, roles with Motorist, Google Link projects, editorial internships, Circle with a one, right?
Yeah.
Circle one, and more, all matched to calling rather than just credentials. So in this conversation, we're going to explore how that kind of grassroots formation connects to the reform of the virtual outsourcing industry, what the 11 to 25 bracket actually needs from work, what U.S. employers consistently miss about Filipino youth, and how we might build a pipeline where platforms like is it RV1?
RVI.
RVI,
Yeah.
Surface Talent, the Center for Leaders builds the leadership layer, and how Kasama Connect provides a fair, regulated bridge to vetted global clients. So if you're a Filipino student, a 19-year-old in the provinces, about to take your first virtual assistant job, rep job,
Yeah.
a U.S. client hiring remotely or part of the PH or Philippine business community, wondering what's your next after the legacy BPO model, and this topic is for you. So, Josue, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Yes.
and let's start with how you came to call yourself a holistic development partner and what gap you saw that no one else was filling.
Yeah, perfect. Yes, thank you so much, Alistair, for having me here. And just to answer the question, basically, holistic development is not just addressing one skill set just for the sake of completing an assigned task or a competition. So, one thing I've noticed is that when kids enroll in debate classes or when they enroll in this type of public speaking lesson, it's usually a skill set that they are trained for to get a medal or a certificate. But I think for me personally, when I coach kids who attend said competitions, I always give them the direction as to how you could use this in college, how you can use this for work, what the real world looks like. So that's basically the gap that I saw. That's why when I advertise myself, it's about holistic development. And just plain and simple, holistic development means development as a person. You can be good at one skill set, but you also need to have a personality. You also have to know how to carry yourself,
Yes.
especially in virtual assistants. And later we can talk more about that. What I've noticed is that there's people who are smart, there's people who are talented, but they don't know how to sell themselves.
Right.
So I think because of them not having that skill set to negotiate and talk to the people, they can't really get the best offer or the best slice of the pie for them to actually get the career that they want. So hence, from the 11 to 25 bracket, I've been trying to specialize more on the younger side, and then also, specialize more on the younger side because that's where more people pay, to be honest, like economically. But for the older side, I have more experience in that, especially my background is in sales. So maybe that's why it's easier for me to do my reels, easier for me to like mention or mentor people on how to do public speaking, is because at the end of the day, you're trying to sell something and the product is you. So
Yes.
that's that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you guys don't use this term a lot here, entrepreneur.
Not really, no.
I mean, that's what I call myself. That's what most Americans call themselves. That we don't use the word freelancer. But I think that's the substitute really. When you're an entrepreneur, there's no main standard recipe, right? I know many entrepreneurs that make a couple bucks, side hustles, whatever. I know entrepreneurs that make millions, make billions, and they'll you got people that call themselves serial entrepreneurs. Me, I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is not the first thing I've ever done as far as entrepreneurship. I don't know if you guys watch my Facebook, but I run a print farm. I have a retail line. I have a military administrative services. Then I'm doing this tech company, all under my LLC. So I can honestly say I'm a serial entrepreneur. And the way people like me is we keep on selling until something sticks or until something that we're selling becomes a passion.
Okay.
And that's where I came in with this, right? And I think that's what captured a lot about Attorney here, as she has, paralleled her vision and my vision together, knowing that this is going to be a hometown success. Because not only is this going to completely stabilize and give ownership and systematic ownership back to the Philippine people, because this is our damn craft, not theirs, but systematic ownership, and put the rails and the governance and just, this is ours, it doesn't belong to anyone but us, and I know this does not mix with what we're talking about here, but if this is the way the current state of affairs is with the VA industry, of how transparently corrupt it is, how transparently exploitative it is, and how we don't own it, what says, your generation's going to have any more rising success without the current model, the way it is right now? It's so messed up.
Yeah. Actually, I can tell a story as to how I tried to file a case against an employer online.
I want to hear about that, because it
it's
rarely
crazy.
ever occurs. Like, people wouldn't know where to start. And I think, attorney
I'll,
can help.
I'll share a story for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So I think the short answer or the short version is there's this employer who fired me immediately just because my supervisor, Filipino supervisor, wasn't able to communicate it properly. So I filed a leave. I said I wasn't
Filipino
able.
HR?
I mean, but no shade to them. I'm not gonna mention any names, but I'm pretty sure you know them. I'll tell them later after the episode. But basically, what happened was I got fired immediately, and I don't understand the process. There really was no email, no warning, no written warning, no verbal
no
warning,
due cause, no.
nothing like that, no process.
Yeah.
So basically, that's why I filed a complaint. And interesting, when I went to the office.
How did you file that complaint?
So I went to the public attorney's office.
Oh,
So you can do that. Technically, because I'm unemployed, because
Yeah.
a virtual
Entitled,
assistance
yeah.
job is not a valid job
Not
legally.
recognized by the Dole, all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. So when I tried to file a complaint there, and first went to Dole and then went to the public attorney's office, their first question was, who are you talking to? Are they a Filipino citizen? If they're not a Filipino citizen, do they have an address here? And if it's a virtual address, what they'll do is they'll just send a letter.
Remember that? Yeah.
But that's the best they could do. If they don't show up and if they're not in the Philippines, we can't really legally persecute them.
Right.
So what's gonna happen is whoever's their Filipino representative can can receive the legal
Yeah.
blame. So which is kind of crazy, So I think you being an attorney
Yeah.
specializing in this is something great because I would say out of the 3 lawyers I talked to, one of them was kind of sure. The other 2 didn't know how the process worked.
That's usually how it goes.
Because again, I think that's the crazy part here. Like when you try to complain when there's abuse that could happen to a assistant or to a rep, as you've said, there's really no safety net. And the crazy part here is like we're already paying taxes, right? With Upwork, there's already a cut from the government, but there's no legal protection.
They take a cut.
Yeah, they do, right?
I with the current like the online subscriptions, the government takes a cut now, but I don't think Upwork is
Mentioned.
no, I don't think Upwork is registered here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
There's no entity.
Yeah, because if they are not registered here in the Philippines, no, the government cannot take any
Yeah.
cut from them, even though they pay subscription through Upwork, they cannot get a cut on it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's what I've read online. Like I'm not sure if it's a bill that they've passed, but there's no really protection. You usually tax people if there's a benefit from it. So it's kind of weird.
So you just like hit a light bulb in my head because you just said because Upwork doesn't have an entity here, and I'm
Yes.
having entity here, and I'm willing to take that by setting the proper example of how a full stack system is supposed to work. You just said Upwork doesn't have an entity here, so they're untouchable, which is exactly how onlinejobs.ph is constructed
Yes.
as a paywall on the US side.
Yes.
But what pay
That's
links?
what's happening.
What pay links does Upwork use? Don't they have their own escrow system?
I'm not sure with Upwork. I haven't tried it. So,
So-
They make so much money on the whole Connect system.
yeah, they
that's
charge
yeah.
connects. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that way, but they did because it's lucrative. Now it's turning into a bidding war. It's more. It's now I'm just realizing this now. OnlineJobs.ph is a race to the bottom. Upwork is the same concept, but they
Yes.
use Connects as a race to the top, but with no promise. But they're
Yeah.
making so much money on SEO enhancement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Correct.
still got to pick you though. But you're going to be falsely placed up there because you paid to be up there.
Yes.
But the client still has to pick you. Now, is that a legal concept of business? No, but you can't say that because it's unregulated.
Yes.
So when these apps came to be birthed, they knew what they were doing. Well, they pretty much knew that, okay, onlinejobs.ph, actually Upwork or Fiverr was already existed. They were called like Odesk or something. They just kind of came together. It's like, hey man, this is still unregulated. So let's come together and make a bigger system, right? Oh, you got to go? Okay. It's the full stack developer that came to see. He has to go back to
be called.
be cold.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, but well, with him, like, yeah, he didn't know. Same thing. He didn't know that the site is ran by one white man in Utah that is talking about us as a subordinate race that is starving, and we need onlinejobs.ph to survive. That's basically what he says about us. You know? Making us look like we still live in the prehistoric times. You know, I wish that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Going back.
yeah. So apparently he hasn't been in the Philippines long enough. So I'm going to ask you some questions.
Go ahead.
How do you describe being a holistic development partner, and what gap were you filling when you started?
Yeah, so the gap that I saw was really just the transferable asset, or basically to repeat myself, the gap that I saw in training people is how transferable skills can be used beyond the classroom or beyond a certain job post. So for example, when you become a virtual assistant, usually it's a general term that you could do almost everything. Like you are the secretary of this executive. So when we train certain college students or high school students skill sets, we want to prepare them for what the industry needs. So one of the projects I'm working for the postgraduate side would be with, for example, NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, one of the representatives talked to me and then discussed that, hey, we want data engineers. The reason why Google is giving free courses for data engineering, etc., is because they have a lack of quality talents that they need. So for the work that I do in River Valley Regulars is we want to develop youth talent. So with that in mind, we try to negotiate with them, agree with like a settlement or a contract wherein we can get the needed talent that you have or the needed talent that you want, and then we collaborate with designing courses, etc., to make sure that we're able to bring that talent that they need to their standard. So I think that's the problem currently. What we were talking about earlier is that there's an education crisis in the Philippines, wherein yes, you can get when you get a college degree, it matters, but to a certain degree, because like a CV or resume, you can put your work experience, you can put that you graduated here, but when the client asks you questions and you can't really answer them, what's the point of having a certification if it doesn't really show in the quality of output that you do?
Right.
So that's the gap that we're trying to fill.
Would you say it's more the fact that clients want to hear more of experience rather than what
They want to
like
see
a
it,
paper?
not really
it's
hear.
very hard to in a virtual sense. It's also very hard.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that in terms of a virtual space is having like screenshots of your work, if not documents that you could show. But at the end of the day, at least based on my experience, it's always about confidence. Right. You know, there's like like interesting enough, like yesterday, one person reached out to me in TikTok, even though I haven't posted for like 2 or 3 years already. And then she basically mentioned to me that I want a coach or someone to train me how to speak English and on how to get a job. There's already online courses out there how to become a great VA, but if you don't know how to speak to a client, you can't really get the job.
Right.
So I think that's something that we're trying to fill in.
And I can tell you about American clients, all Americans. There's about at least 10 different types of American social groups. Like different types of American language. Like when you talk to someone from New York or California, Texas, Georgia, it's very, very different. Okay. Remember, I'm a remote worker, right? So I have to talk to people from Alaska and Montana, two totally different communities, two totally different mindsets, especially in the medical industry, you know. And when they hear me, it's like, oh, where are you located? Oh, San Dimas, California, you know. And then they've never been to California, and they have like this thing about, oh, you're from LA. Oh gosh, you must be very violent-minded or something, you know, because they know what they see on TV. There's always a drive-by, and there's always a high-speed chase. it's you know, we're not a unified nation. We all think differently. You know, like I said before, we're very separated. You've coached 1,000 plus students since 2024. So what patterns do you see in Filipino youth that the outside world consistently underestimates?
Well, to like put it into context for virtual assistants, I think for the 11 to 24, they're easily trainable, I'd say, as long as you're able to capture their attention. I think the attention span and interest is like a generation difference, the way I see the older generation from my point of view, because I think the problem right now is how do you actually prepare the kids to like a certain career path. But the way we do it in my line of work is we also do personal development. Again, holistic development. Because I think the way the industry wants is we want people to be in a rat race or fit certain figures. Because again, there's this nature of commodification. Like we're grooming you to be this perfect product for you to be a perfect screw in a cog machine. But right now, I think we're moving towards highlighting people as like talent, as like individual, unique people that can add value to a company. So I think that's something that we're preparing the kids, because that's, again, data driven. That's what the academe says that's true. We've seen in corporate settings that doing things differently, putting people first, actually improves productivity. So I think that's the main thing that I see for the youth generation. But the con there is we have to convince those who empower that investing in the youth is actually the best way moving forward, because they view not all of them believe that, because they believe that investing in the youth is still expensive for them, because if there's already available talent, it's already good enough.
Right.
So I think I think that's my line of work. Specializing in the youth sector, we want to like convince the rest of the world that hey, it should be your next way moving forward, because other countries are doing it. Like I think the best example is China. People are seeing the effects of China investing in the youth. Singapore wouldn't be where they are now if they haven't invested in their youth sector.
You're absolutely right.
So that's that.
Yeah. So your advocacy centers on global peace and prosperity, from grassroots to institutional initiatives. So what does grassroots look like day to day in Baguio and across the Philippines?
Yeah, well, in Baguio, it's similar to what you've said with the USA. Like each city is different, right? But I would say grassroots are typically associated with having no money. Like that's usually the thing that comes to mind. Oh, you're a grassroots organization. Also, you don't have money. That's usually the way it goes. But usually grassroots organizations are led by the youth, which is interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of grassroots initiatives are youth-led, I've noticed. And how it works is there's this strong disconnection between, let's say, working together, because grassroots believe that the business people are the problem. So there's this class war that's happening right now. So instead of people looking at as an opportunity, they view people like me or like us like perpetuating inequality, which is a hard discussion right now. It's very philosophical, but for me, I like focusing on the work that I do. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about politics, we can talk about philosophy, but at the end of the day, what output can you show, right? So that's why I believe in virtual portfolios. I align with that, with the work that we do, because having that proof of work shows that, hey, I'm able to achieve these things for me to help add value to your company or organization. So to add to that, I think my final note is, so for the grassroots that I've been working with, I always teach them project management, or at least what I know. Because that is a transferable skill that you could do anywhere. You can host events when you want to organize your rallies. How can you use that skill set to have high-end business meetings? How do you do business negotiations? So something like that. Like I always believe in whatever type of program that we create, project management, event management are like the commonality, and that's something I capitalize on and make it mainstream. So that's that.
So in America, right, we have 50 states. And within each state, the education system is not standardized all across the United States. Okay? I can tell you right now, I probably had a better education than somebody from Oklahoma. Okay? In the Philippines, as you've achieved your JD, would you say the curriculum is pretty much the same all across the board throughout the Philippines?
Yeah, in the Philippines, I think we have a standardized curriculum
Throughout the nation?
Yes.
We do. Yeah. But the problem here is, I think it's about the public and private sector. So unlike in the private sector, they get to invest more in talent, quality talent, that usually from other countries or people who are in the corporate world. So for example, I'm part of Rotary International, so it's like a business networking type of group. So we have professors from LaSalle, from Ateneo, and what they've noticed is what makes their tuition worth it is their industry connections. So unlike with public schools, they're trying to catch up, but I think the problem with public schools is the ratio for teachers is quite low. So I think 1:60.
Yes.
Currently, 1:60 students.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but again, my numbers are not that accurate. Might be even worse than that. Yeah.
That's a minor problem to have. In the American school system, we're worried about, shootings.
I mean,
laugh, but it's a thing. It's a thing, It's even in that, like, I'm afraid about my 8-year-old and 2-year-old because that has a high possibility. California. But it can happen. Like, look at, what is it, small town.
Yeah, even small towns.
It's just crazy. But that's a different part of politics I don't talk about. You upskill youth in digital governance. Right? So AI policymaking, DRRM.
Disaster risk reduction.
Right. And ecotourism and why those 4 pillars?
Well, that was the latest project that we currently focus on. So those 4 things that you've mentioned was a project that we plan to do in Sorsogon City. So in the Bicol region, yeah. So that's something that we plan to do, but it got canceled sadly, because of the war of the fuel prices, and also because the volcano spew ashes.
Recent.
So it's very recent. It was May 2 to 5 originally. But again, like circling back, those 4 pillars were due to our contracts with the government. So we do have partnerships with the youth arm of the government called Sangguniang Kabataan, or SKs for short. So with my line of work, we do partner with them because the work we do is program coordination, meaning tell us what you need, we'll do it. So one of the gaps currently in the government is they have the funding, they just don't know what to do.
Right.
So that's why the problem, the joke that's running in the Philippines is that SKs usually have basketball games, Mobile Legends tournaments. ML is like a mobile game here in the Philippines. So that's usually what they do because they don't know how else to spend it.
Yeah.
So that's like a gap that I think the government should address, but political will is an important thing. That's why right now the direction of my colleagues who are doing organization work like what you are doing is through PPPs, or public-private partnership. So I think building on Kasama Connect, I think there's something that once everything is set up, there's this billboard I saw in EDSA that there's the virtual SSS Pag-ibig PhilHealth app already. And they already partnered with RCBC, if I'm not mistaken, or was it East West? I forgot. But they do partner with private institutions to provide services to actually make the government more efficient.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it like this. So that's basically the gap that we're trying to fill in.
Okay. You said pillars. Kasama Connect is actually more than tech. Obviously we're talking here because there's a lot of people waiting for the app to come out, and I get that. But the app cannot exist without the other pillars, which is the advocacy, the reform, the community. That education will never stop, because the way I branded this and marketed this from day one, if you look at the very first post, it was just me and Chris talking. We never would imagine it was going to get to this point. I never knew this was going to happen. I didn't plan on it.
Yeah.
It just, the passion and the purpose kind of led me here, But I thought about it when I spoke to the VP. I was like, one of us is going to have to go back to the Philippines because it's going to happen. Obviously it's going to be me, but just how everybody just came along. This is definitely going to be a Netflix-worthy thing once it goes in effect, right?
Yeah, there's already draft footage.
Yeah. And plus the fact that I found out what is the dominating entity that does run this industry. It's going to be a separate show. But what is MUN? M-U-N?
So Model United Nations is basically a program where kids mimic like how the United Nations work. So the reason why it's popular is not because of the UN, because the UN is a controversial entity, especially recently, but because of its skill sets that can be transferred.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you're like a mini lawyer. You're representing a country that you might not even like, but you have to uphold its interest. So basically,
the silver lining between it.
Yeah, so we basically teach them how to research, how to read documents, and how to actually create speeches. And more importantly, I think the most important skill set is how do you convince someone to say yes to you. So basically, for example, we're 3 countries, right? And then for us to pass a resolution, we need 2/3 majority. So 2 out of 3 of us need to say yes. So if I created a resolution, you created the resolution, how do you convince me to vote for yours instead of mine? Or how do we reach an agreement to actually make it happen that we don't lose anything from this meeting? So in the UN, of course, like there's different ways or different names for that. But I think it's important because once they graduate, they have to talk to their boss, they have to talk to their colleagues. How do we agree on something so that we don't lose on something?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's about connections, about building, like rapport, consensus.
Sure.
Because I think in my personal opinion, 10 years ago when debate was more, let's say, popular, people were really fighting each other. Because in debate, you're not really rewarding consensus. You're rewarding how great your point is.
Correct.
So that's why I think when we're trying to convince people on the side of reason and logic, I'd say Filipinos are more emotional in the sense of they want charismatic leaders. Like if you've noticed, like people want charisma.
Yes.
They don't really like thinking into logic. You can just pull numbers out of your ass, as you've mentioned, right? And people will believe it if you're likable. So that's something that we want to teach people. Like you can be smart, you can be, great at your job, but how do you become persuasive? So that's what MUN teaches.
Okay. So how transferable are MUN skills like diplomacy, public speaking, critical thinking to the remote virtual workforce most Filipino youth eventually enter?
Yeah. Well, I have two answers for that. So first is my opinion. Second is organizational data, right? So of course, I teach MUN. So of course, I'd say it's very transferable. Like I won't undermine my what I do.
Yeah.
But then the second part is there's a gap in terms of the data that we want to see on how transferable it really is. So before working here at RVI, I worked for International Global Network. So they organize the events. And the way they advertise it is through maybe 10 out of 100 people going to a different university. There's a lot of factors how you can get into college, right? But right now with my line of work, my job by the end of this year is to have a problem statement for the youth sector here. So the way we measure success is through virtual portfolio creation and how that can actually get them the job that they want. So what makes us different from LinkedIn or what makes us different from any other platform is other than we're youth focused, we focus on upskilling the youth. So there's like a service we provide to help them. We basically walk with them in their journey. We don't just leave them and okay, here's the website, do what you want to do. We actually hold their hand and we develop talent until they reach their final destination, which is whatever career path that they want. So we work on both ends. We talk to corporate or we talk to people who want to hire and we talk to applicants. So, but again, we're not a headhunter, we're not an agency. We just get to connect them.
Neither are we.
Yeah.
Right? Mutual facilitation. I'm glad hearing this because the vetting process that we're trying to figure out right now with the app is, American clients are so used to just fishing for talent on their own in some erroneous matter. And, you got Filipinos, it doesn't have to be students that are trying to sell themselves with just words and text messages.
Yeah.
I feel whatever operating system you're going to have, I would love to do an API integration into Kasama because that just sounds like two peas in a pod, man.
Yeah, basically. And the reason why I think we're more unique is we're focusing on like the irregulars.
Yes.
So for example, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't finished college yet for a lot of reasons. And I think right now what we do is we want to give...
You come off like you already are done.
Thank you so much, actually. Yeah. So I think it's the confidence that really matters. Work experience really builds character. But I think, basically what we do is regardless of your career path or your pathway, be it regular or irregular, we provide the materials or the support for people to be successful. This started in Singapore because Singapore is very bureaucratic. It's very structured. If you don't finish college in the way that the government wants, it's hard for you to actually live in Singapore and get a job. So I think that's something that we've been noticing for Singapore. But for the Philippines, it's more of the graduates are not really quality. So that's a different type of irregular that we want to correct. So that's basically what we do.
That's awesome. So what should U.S. employers understand about the 11 to 25 bracket before hiring them virtually?
Well, I think first off, of course, you can't hire minors, but
it is happening.
Actually, so technically you shouldn't. But I think for the youth bracket, which is 18 to 35, so 25 is the average that I teach, but we do cater up to 35. So the sector that we're trying to cultivate here for US clients is first, we have better English compared to other countries.
100%.
And second is, I think we're more easy to teach compared to others, I think what I've noticed. But in terms of the youth sector in general, it's a worthy investment because they're the future of tomorrow in the sense of adding value to the company. Usually companies are more of the older generation and having a fresh perspective usually adds value or can destroy.
Right.
So I think finding the right talent is very important for employers. And I think that's why it's important for Kasama Connect and RVI and similar organizations to actually not just look at the candidates on black and white, but know their personality. Like look at their output or work. Because we want to match people, find the right fit.
Right.
So I think that's what I've noticed with other employers. They just keep hiring people who sound like a great candidate, but when they're onboarded on the team, they just notice, oh my god, I wasted time, 2 weeks hiring them, and they're not really a good fit. So there's a lot of agencies doing that already, measuring personalities, etc. But for us, we wanted to make it more accessible. So for those who are listening from the US, it's important for you to invest in the youth talent because they can add value, but you need to meet the right people. You need to have the right connections to actually make sure that you're doing the right investment. So yeah.
Okay, so where is the Philippine education system still failing to prepare students for borderless AI augmented work?
A lot, yeah. I mean, where do I start? I mean, the short answer for me is the government isn't really doing a lot that's of quality, especially with the context that we're currently in. Like, it's currently what? It's May 26. There's already like a lot of political drama that people can look up. And especially this year, we're supposedly the chair for ASEAN. So there's a spotlight right now for us, like doing a lot of unfortunate events. So I think the one thing I want to pinpoint is the curriculum is not up to date. And even my peers who are working in the academe just raises a concern to their board that this curriculum after 4 years will be so out of date that people, the graduates, just have to study from scratch again because of how fast things are developing. So I think one thing that I could say is all of the corporates that I've watched going to school, they always say, you should study these and not what you're studying at school. So it really devalues the college system at the moment, because what's the point of having a certification if you can't really use it?
Right.
So I think partially for me, I'm going to be honest, maybe that's why I don't want to finish my college degree for now, because I don't see the relevance on how it could actually help me advance.
I am all for that. You're 20.
23, yeah.
May I please ask your age?
I'm 33.
Okay, 33.
I have 10 years gap.
Like, yeah, you took a break, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I graduated from high school in 2000. Okay. You probably weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 8.
Oh, Jesus. So, and I went to school where you took a JanSport bag with 8 books, no laptop, and it would take 3 months to write a 10-page essay for any topic. And we had to handwrite that.
Yeah.
And we had to remember that. There was no internet. I mean, there was the internet, but it was like one computer in the library.
Yeah.
And if you got caught using it, you had to ask permission. The internet was kind of like, our browsers back then were like web crawler and maybe Yahoo, right? But we just didn't know how to use it. It's like AI. It's like,
Yes.
it's there, but didn't know if it could be a research tool. And that's when Jeff Bezos was just a small little store in Seattle. It was a bookstore. I remember that, and look at him now, right?
Yeah.
He's basically the Acme of Looney Tunes now. Is what he is, okay?
Yeah.
So, then I joined the military in 2003. I joined at a very, very hostile time. I mean, we captured Iraq. I mean, we captured Saddam when I was in basic training. That's how bad, intense. We were losing a guy every day, And believe it or not, I decided, and that's when like online curriculum started to exist. I was like, I want to do my bachelor's degree, right? So, I went to community colleges outside the installations. I think I attended 3 different schools just to get my associates. But then when it came to finishing my bachelor's, there was just this big like birthing of online schools. Like they don't have a brick and mortar, but they exist in cyberspace. So that's when virtual learning was like a thing. And I was just like, this is too easy. So I literally got my bachelor's degree in the Middle East after a firefight, literally, right? The school lost its accreditation and it turned over to a school in Arizona State. So I have a bachelor's from a school that I didn't attend because it lost its accreditation. They had to give it. And when I retired from the military in October 2023, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm like embarrassed of my education because I'm so used to the organic method of understanding and learning and retaining. So I purposely went back to grad school physically. And, all the schools have submitted to a more like hybrid thing.
Set up,
Because they
yeah.
can take up more students that way
Yes.
because
More
they can
profit.
make money. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, my grad program was like $90,000. I didn't pay for it, but I was on scholarship. But you imagine the ones that do have to pay for it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I actually got accepted to law school at Laverne University, but my scholarship was only going to cover $150,000. So I was like, no, I'm not paying for this.
Yeah.
So I got my MBA instead, and I'm glad I did, because if I did not pursue my MBA, I would not have discovered having to do this. But she has inspired me, and I think
Yeah, I'm encouraging you.
I don't know, maybe I'll go to law school here. I don't know.
It's cheaper here.
It is cheaper
definitely.
here, right? Doesn't mean that the quality's less.
Yes.
But I think, since I've decided to start a life-changing company in my home country, I think it just makes more sense.
It
to
does.
understand
Right.
more about labor laws and the fact that Dole doesn't recognize this profession.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's recognized in the United States. All you got to do is augment us. So all the stuff that's happening to Filipinos by American clients, they know the rules. Just no one's ever implemented it, So what does unconventional mean in practice, and why is that the right frame for Filipino youth entering global remote work?
Great question. I like that. Well, when we talk about unconventional, right, there's two sides of the coin. There's the dictionary definition, and it's how you view unconventional. So let's start with the dictionary. So unconventional means different, right? It's different from how we do it. And when you say different, it's scary. Like when you hear the word, it's different. Like you're gonna do extra work. So it's kind of, it doesn't really become palatable, at least from the dictionary definition. But in terms of unconventional, my opinion, the way I see it, I think with my upbringing, especially when COVID happened, a lot of things became different. But what's unconventional became the standard.
Right.
So I think one thing I want to say is that being adaptable to change is really a life skill set. And be it unconventional or not, irregular or not, I think it's important for us to understand that change is what makes stuff grow. Like people adapt, companies adapt. And for them to have higher profit, for those who are money driven, adapting to market needs is something that's very important. So, but in the context of like applicants who wants to get a job, I think knowing the industry standards, knowing the trends, especially in automation with artificial intelligence, we need to catch up. Sadly, we have to do it by individual efforts.
Yes.
But this would be a great platform for us to guide people to the right track, because not everyone is like us. Not everyone has a thick face like me. No, not everyone can actually be in front of a camera and talk about these things. It's important for us to provide the structure that you're looking for, that you want. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who would appreciate it. So just in summary, adapting to change is important, but creating a system for it for people to follow is another.
Right. You're absolutely right. RVI, okay, it curates opportunities, motorist, Google, editorial internships, Circle One or Circle, right?
Yeah, Circle One. Yeah, that's right.
And matches them to youth based on calling, not just credentials. So how did you arrive at that matching philosophy?
Okay, great question. So I'll borrow a story from our founder, because this is basically a story of the founder. They started in 2022. She's actually half Singaporean, half Filipino. So she lives in Bulacan, and she grew up in Singapore basically. So she just visits here in the country. So the way Singapore works is that there's a lot of youth that wants real life opportunities and not just classroom learning. At least that's what they've told us, and that's how we crafted the problem statement. So we created the internship matching because there's an aging population in Singapore, and we want to promote the youth sector to be a part of their organization. So so Circle One, the Google that you mentioned, those are Singaporean partnerships. And I think the reason why we wanted to have that philosophy, other than helps us to be financially sustainable, of course, it helps us build value that we could cultivate from the youth sector, and then eventually when they mature, we can connect them to the different corporates that needs talent. So transferring it to the Philippines, that culture is very important because, again, holistic development. We just don't want you to get a certificate after this seminar and then be on your merry way. We believe in multiple workshops, multiple follow-ups. We believe in impact beyond the program proper. So having that pipeline, knowing that our success metrics go beyond numbers of attendees and actually building a career for them is what we're interested in. Because the reason why people don't do that, like doing more work after the seminars, because it's tiring, it's taxing, it doesn't really benefit them. But I think what makes us interesting as a youth organization is, as I mentioned, we go for profit and nonprofit activities, and I believe the nonprofit extends to actually making sure the impact is beyond just attending workshops with certificates, but getting an actual job that provides for them and their family.
Okay. So Singapore treats youth talent very differently from the Philippines.
Yeah, every
So
country does, yes.
what can the Philippine outsourcing industry learn from the Singaporean model of structured opportunity?
Well, I think for an individual standpoint, putting themselves in rooms or countries maybe that forces them to go through that structured to that structure is beneficial. So for me personally, I think what I've learned, like doing virtual assistance work, is putting myself in rooms where I'm valued. So, like going out of your ways, even spending money to actually go to those places is important. Fun fact: Model United Nations isn't really like a big thing, but when I spent my money to actually go to the conference and I saw the value, in less than a year, I was able to like start attending conferences and like chairing, and eventually I got paid for it. Like people actually pay me to go to different locations to actually like chair or lead these spaces. So what I'm trying to say here is like you can find your model UN. You can find maybe it's a different sector. It's a different type of work or profession. But being adaptable to change is one thing, and then putting yourselves in rooms where you're valued is another, because that gives you opportunities. It gives you the mindset. Okay, given my passion, given my needs, how do I have a compromise in the middle, especially in VA work, right? In VA work, there's a lot of things we could do. Like VA, general VA, executive VA, that means a lot of things. But building a niche is something that is very important. And niche means specialization, right? Yeah, I think that's that. Like, we can't really do anything with the government right now, especially with us. But as an individual, just joining and being part of the conversation, hopefully being part of Kasama Connect would be that change.
Absolutely. So if we built a leadership track inside Kasama for VAs, diplomacy and negotiation, AI literacy, ethics, what must be in the curriculum? Have you both kind of help me answer that?
Yeah. So I think you start first, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like what Jose said, it's very important that we give every VA a platform where they can train themselves on what really is their niche, because that's something I think, especially when I was joining the virtual workforce, it's like people are like any work that is on the internet, they just applied in it.
Yeah.
Right. So
And
until
then
something sticks.
which one hires them it's okay. They will adapt to that.
So that's where that fake it till you make it culture kind of got adopted, right?
And that's one thing that for me, personally, what I did is that I learned the virtual workforce. I learned how to be a VA. And then I think when I saw this like general VAs, it's like I feel like no, I'm not on that track, because I'm a Juris Doctor graduate, so I'm looking for something legal work. So that's what I did. I went on those platforms that offers like legal jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's one thing that I want the virtual workforce to have, like something that will guide them to what niche are they really for.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Like, I think in Upwork, or at least again, I can speak on Upwork because that's where I work. There's really no categories, right? It's really just if the post finds you, if the SEO finds you, that's the job that you could apply for.
There's no like merit or vetting process whatsoever within the search portion.
Yeah, and that's one
actually
thing,
very easy to code.
Correct. And that's one thing that I'm very happy with Kasama Connect, because you're putting a tier, like tier 1.
A rank system. I'm doing it just like a military unit.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
So like when for me, like my specialization is on legal job. So I will subscribe on this tier. Okay, so it will be filtered on
Right.
the thing that is
Exactly.
on
Because
my path.
think about the clients, like how hard is it for them? Because also, this industry is very baliktad. You guys are finding clients. It's not supposed to be that way.
Supposedly, yeah.
No, it's not supposed to be that way.
Correct.
The culture and the person who made Online JP made it that way.
Yes.
So it's a race to the bottom. Who takes the lowest bid? And I've witnessed some of these interviews where the client's like, "So how much will you take?" That's the first question. Are you looking for talent or are you looking for a barter? And so should we reframe virtual assistants as a soft diplomacy?
Well, the short answer is yes, definitely. And I think going back to your question with the curriculum, I think selling themselves, like how to sell their talent is very
Like
important.
how you said at the very beginning, learn how to sell.
Yeah.
You don't know how to do that, then there's no... What I'm going to tell you, and hopefully if anybody watches this, take the virtual craft of the effort out of your mind. Because, okay, I'm good at this. This is what I do. XYZ. I'm a lawyer. I'm this. I'm this. All right. Now, say that again to your AI model. How do I take this niche and turn it into a virtual method of employment? And it will tell you the answer. It will even tell you how to create your own system. AI is the only software in the world. If you ask it to train you, it will train you.
Yeah.
This whole app was done by me asking the right questions. It understood the current state of affairs. It understood the issues, the problems. It found the answers. It found all the drama going on Reddit. AI gave me the answers. It did.
I think to add more, go ahead.
AI is very useful for me. When I started looking for virtual work, I really have no idea how it works. I see how people are so desperate online looking for a job.
Yeah.
And then they sell themselves like, I have 5 years of experience as blah, blah, blah. And I have no experience in virtual work. So I feel like, it's correct when you say that people should have the confidence to sell themselves, to trust what they have in them. Like, I trust that I trust my education. I trust that I am a law graduate. So I just cannot get a job like any other jobs there. It should be legal job. So I check on AI. So like how, if I will get an interview, how will I answer this one?
Right.
What would be the questions that would be asked? And then it prepared me.
There you go. Ask the right thing. So
Correct.
for a 19-year-old in the provinces, okay, it's about to accept their first VA job on a legacy platform. You can pick one. Your one piece of advice.
Well, I think first go to TikTok. Yeah, no, really, because I think the reason why it first, at least for me, it's very accessible. Like that's how I started doing reels. Is how I went viral for a short moment. And there's like a lot of great advice on TikTok for sure. But I think one thing that I recommend, another call to action, is episoden.com. That's EPISODEN.com. It's a South Korean nonprofit funded by the government that connects different countries to speak English for free. So it's one thing knowing what to say, but actually saying it is another thing. So I think that's true. Like when I see on Facebook, 5 years work experience, the job market is so bad. But when I even meet people or hear people online who are 5 years, it sounds like they don't even know what they're talking about. It's because mainly for confidence issues. So I think, like really practicing. Like especially for a 19-year-old, they have to practice.
I talk in front of the mirror all the time.
It's very important.
So one last thing, the best best MUN moment that changed how you see Filipino youth.
I think one thing that I've noticed is that people do want change. Like people want this. People want other things like this, like my age. It's just that they don't know how, or they don't have the people who wants to be connected. In MUN, you can win awards. In MUN, you can feel like you're at the top of the world. But at the end of the day, finding people who actually do the work like this, being in the uncomfortable part of the room, is very important.
Yes.
So I think that's that. Like for the youth who are listening, I'm pretty sure the youth sector is watching. We need to connect with people like you. We need to volunteer or add value to this and see what we could do or inspire each other to actually be more than a concept, be more than just written on paper, go beyond the air-conditioned rooms.
Yeah. Real quick, attorney, for you, Manila, Baguio, Singapore, or BGC, where does the future of Philippine work get built?
I'm sorry, where does?
Manila, Baguio, Singapore, or BGC, where does the future of Philippine work get built?
Well, I think it would be in Manila.
100%.
Yeah, because it's the center of everything
We're
here
the
in the
center of the
Philippines.
universe when it comes to virtual work. We
Yeah.
really are. And then I'm going to answer my own question. What is the one skill set that VAs need to master for 2027? Sell.
Preach.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. This is great.
It's a great discussion, guys.
It's going to be high quality.
Not just Zoom calls na.
Let's,
But you're gonna come back here on Thursday?
yeah, I'm going to have my soon-to-be British partner. He's
Aw.
really putting the cart before the horse.
Okay.
And
Is that Andrew?
yeah, will you be
Okay.
here?
Okay,
I
sure.
need you here because it's starting to get pretty legal.
It's all about the non-disclosures.
yeah, because we haven't signed that yet. But he's excited because he knows like this is going to be, especially when we
Yeah.
expand the UK, because UK hasn't been tainted, you know.
That's for a different company, right? You're handling
No.
Is this
No.
Kasama
No,
Connect?
it's
So
also-
I will give him IP rights for the Kasama Connect UK platform.
Interesting.
Yeah, he wants
Okay.
Kasama in UK.
Yeah, but
So this is America, that was UK.
Yeah.
it'll just say
Interesting.
Kasama Connect UK. Because
Perfect.
we'll already have the same backend. Well, the inventory is us.
Yeah.
The product is us. I hate saying that word, but their fintech SAS rules are very different. I don't want to be involved with that. So I said, I'll give you IP rights, but you have to make I will show you the JSONs and you have to make a UK version for yourself. But you also have to do the research because the pay tables, the universal pay rates, that's 3 years of research. So I said, I'm not going to give you, we've been working on this for quite some time. And he thinks it's just going to be a flip of the switch. I'm like, no. You got to do your research for your country. And I will not speak for the UK. He's like, yeah, I don't think, just the way I talk, hey, I'm talking to the American market, Filipinos, and the veteran community. This is how Alistair fucking talks. But I know in the UK, they'll be like, God dang, why is he talking like that? Land of good manners, right? And